The massive alien ship floated in space like a silver mountain. Inside, Ambassador Taeho Kim walked down long halls made of strange blue metal. His boots clicked on the smooth floor as he followed the tall, thin alien guide. Behind him walked Captain Sojin Park, and Dr. Woo-sung Lee. Taeho had dreamed of this day his whole life. First contact with alien races. He wore his best suit and carried Earth's hopes in a small briefcase. The guide stopped at huge doors that opened without sound. The meeting room was enormous. 3 different types of aliens sat around a curved table that looked like it was made from one giant crystal. The Vextai looked like insects but walked on 2 legs. Their leader spoke through clicking sounds that came from a small machine. "Humans are young," the machine said in perfect English. "You fight too much. War is not civilized." The Mordani were made of living crystal. They glowed with soft light and their voices sounded like music. "We have watched your species. So much violence. So much anger. This troubles us." The third group were the Keltar. They looked like giant frogs with 4 arms. Their skin was wet and green. "Your kind destroys even your own planet. How can we trust you?" Taeho stood up slowly. He had prepared for this. "We have grown past our old ways. We want to learn from you. We want peace." Elder Velthak, the Vextai leader, made more clicking sounds. "Perhaps, but you must prove this. We will watch you for 50 years. Maybe then we will consider full contact." Dr. Lee stepped forward. "Respected elder, we have much to offer. Our medicine has cured diseases that killed millions. Our technology could help your people too. Your technology comes from war," the Mordani sang. "Weapons turned into tools. We make tools from beauty and harmony." Captain Park stayed quiet, but her jaw was tight. She had served in 3 conflicts before becoming a diplomat's guard. She knew these aliens looked down on humans. Then the alarm started. Red lights flashed on the walls. A Keltar rushed into the room, speaking fast in their language. The machine that translated their words spoke. "Attack on human colonies. 3 worlds, many dead." Taeho's heart stopped. "Which colonies?" The Keltar looked at a glowing screen. "New Sol. Haven Colony. Bright Star Station." Captain Park grabbed Taeho's arm. Her face was white. "My brother lives on Haven Colony. His wife and 2 kids." Elder Velthak clicked dismissively. "The Rakthari attack many worlds. It is the way of things. You should move your people to safer places." "Move our people?" Taeho could not believe what he heard. "These are our homes, our families." "The galaxy is large," the Mordani sang softly. "Find new homes. Fighting only brings more violence." Dr. Lee pulled out a small device. Messages were coming in from the attacked colonies. His face went gray as he read. "Taeho, it's bad. Really bad." More messages came. Videos from Haven Colony. The Rakthari were huge, covered in scales and spikes. They had big claws and teeth like knives. They moved through human towns like monsters, from nightmares. Captain Park watched the videos on Dr. Lee's device. She saw her brother's house burning. She saw Rakthari soldiers killing children who tried to run. She saw her nephew, only 6 years old, crying as the monsters came closer. "We need help," Taeho said, his voice shaking. "You have ships. You have weapons. Help us save our people." Elder Velthak made a sound like laughing. "We do not interfere. The strong survive. The weak adapt or die. This is natural law." "Natural law?" Captain Park stood up. Her hand moved to her weapon before she stopped herself. "Those are children dying. All species lose young ones," the Keltar leader said. "It is sad but normal. You will make more." The room went very quiet. Taeho looked at each alien face. None showed any feeling. They talked about human children dying like it was weather. Dr. Lee's device beeped again. More videos came in. The Rakthari were not just killing. They were eating human bodies. They were playing with severed heads. They burned schools with kids still inside. "This is what the Rakthari do to every world they take," Taeho said. "You know this. You let this happen over and over. We prefer balance. the Mordani sang. If we stop the Rakthari here, they attack somewhere else. Better to let nature take its course. Captain Park's hands were shaking now. On the screen she saw her sister-in-law trying to protect her baby. A Rakthari soldier cut her down with one swipe of its claws. The baby fell to the ground. You could save them, she whispered. You could save them all. Violence creates more. Violence, Elder Velthak said. You humans never learn this. Perhaps the Rakthari will teach you wisdom. That was when Elder Velthak made his mistake. He laughed. Not a happy laugh, but a mean one. Perhaps when you lose enough worlds, you will become peaceful like us. Something changed in the room. The air felt different. Captain Park stood very still, but her eyes were like ice. Dr. Lee put away his device with slow, careful movements. Ambassador Taeho closed his briefcase. We understand now, Taeho said quietly. You won't help because you don't care. You think we deserve this because we once fought wars. All species must learn, the Mordani sang. Yes, Taeho said. They must. He walked to the door. Captain Park and Dr. Lee followed. The aliens watched them go, with no emotion. Where are you going? Elder Velthak called out. Taeho stopped at the door. He did not turn around. Home. To do what humans do when our families are threatened. And what is that? Now Taeho did turn around. His face was calm, but something burned behind his eyes. You're about to find out. The door closed behind the three humans. In the meeting room, the aliens looked at each other. Should we be concerned? The Keltar asked. Elder Velthak made his clicking laugh again. What can they do? They are primitives with small ships and simple weapons. Let them try to fight the Rakthari. It will be amusing to watch. None of them knew they had just made the worst mistake in galactic history. They had laughed at human pain. Soon the galaxy would learn why that was a very bad idea. The human ship left the alien vessel and jumped to hyperspace. Inside, three humans sat in silence, watching the stars blur past. Each of them was thinking the same thing. The aliens wanted to see what humans could do when pushed too far. They were about to get their wish. Fleet Admiral Donghyun Yoon stood in the command center on Luna Station. Around him, screens showed the damage from the Rakthari attacks. 3 human colonies were burning. Thousands were dead. The aliens who could have helped had laughed instead. Sir, we have confirmation, General Sung-Ho Kang said as he walked up. Haven Colony is gone. New Seoul is under siege. Bright Star Station went dark 2 hours ago. Admiral Yoon nodded slowly. He was 63 years old and had served in the military his whole life. He had seen war before, but never like this. Never against monsters who ate children. President Ji-Won Nam appeared on the main screen from Earth. Her face was hard as stone. Behind her stood the entire United Defense Council. Admiral, I'm giving you emergency powers, she said. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier, whatever you need. Thank you, Madam President. The aliens won't help us, President Nam continued. Fine. We'll handle this ourselves. Show the galaxy what humans do when someone hurts our families. The transmission ended. Admiral Yoon turned to face his staff. Every person in the room was ready to fight. Some had lost family in the attacks. Others were just angry that aliens thought humans were weak. General Kong, mobilize every military unit. We have. I want the Seoul Defense Fleet ready in 6 hours. Already happening, sir, but it's not just the military. Civilians are volunteering. Mining companies are offering their ships. Even the farmers on Mars want to help. Dr. Youngmi Han, the chief military engineer, stepped forward. Sir, I can convert civilian ships to warships in 72 hours. Cargo haulers can carry missiles. Mining ships have strong hulls and powerful engines. Do it, Admiral Yoon said. Turn everything that flies into a weapon. Captain Sojin Park entered the command center. She had rushed back from the alien meeting. Her eyes were red, but her voice was steady. Admiral, I request permission to lead the assault on Rakthari positions. Captain, you just lost family. Maybe you should... With respect, sir, that's exactly why I should lead it. Her hand touched a photo in her pocket. Her brother, his wife, their 2 children, all dead now. I know how these monsters fight. I know what they are. Admiral Yoon studied her face. He saw no tears, only cold purpose. Granted. You'll command the first strike force. News of the attacks spread across human space faster than light. On every world, in every city, humans watched the videos from the colonies. They saw the Rakthari eating human bodies. They saw children running and screaming. But they also heard about the alien response, how the Galactic Council had refused to help, how they had laughed at human suffering. The anger that followed was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. On Mars, factory workers volunteered to build weapons instead of tools. On Europa, miners offered their ships for the war effort. Even on peaceful farming worlds, people demanded weapons training. Commander Hyun Seo Choi was preparing her ship when the call came. The Rakthari were attacking New Sol colony. The colonists were fighting back, but they needed help fast. How long to get there? She asked her navigator. 18 hours at maximum speed. Make it 12. Push the engines past safety limits if you have to. Her ship was fast, but when she arrived at New Sol, she found something amazing. The colonists were not just hiding. They were fighting back with everything they had. Colonel Min Ho Jung commanded the defense from a bunker in the main city. He was a big man with scars on his face from old battles. Around him, civilian volunteers carried weapons alongside trained soldiers. "Sir, we count 3,000 Rakthari soldiers," reported Sergeant Dayuno. She was young but had already proven herself in combat training. "They're bigger and stronger than us, but they're not smart fighters." "What do you mean?" "Colonel Bao," Jiang asked. "They rely on fear and size. They expect enemies to run. When we don't run, they get confused." Through the bunker's windows, they could see Rakthari soldiers moving through the streets. Each one was 8 feet tall with muscles like steel cables. Their claws could cut through metal. Their teeth could bite through bone. But the humans were ready. "Team Alpha, take the north wall. Team Beta, hit them from the east. Remember, these things killed children. They ate our people. Show them what that costs." The battle for New Sol was brutal. Rakthari soldiers expected humans to scatter like frightened animals. Instead, they found fighters who got stronger when cornered. Sergeant O led her squad through the city ruins. When Rakthari surrounded them, she did something the aliens had never seen. She smiled. "Contact front," she yelled. "Light them up." Human weapons fired from every window, every rooftop, every pile of rubble. The Rakthari had strong armor, but humans aimed for weak spots. Joints, eyes, the soft parts under their arms. One Rakthari soldier cornered Sergeant O in a damaged building. It was twice her size, with claws like swords. It roared and charged. Sergeant O waited until the last second, then rolled aside. The monster crashed into a wall. She jumped on its back and drove her combat knife between its skull plates. "That was for the kids on Haven Colony," she whispered as it died. The fighting continued. For hours. Every time the Rakthari thought they had won, more humans appeared. When they killed one defender, 2 more took their place. But the humans were outnumbered. Slowly, they were pushed back to the city center. Colonel Jiang gathered his remaining forces in the main plaza. "Sir, we're surrounded," Sergeant O reported. She was bleeding from cuts on her arms, but she was still fighting. "I know. But look around. How many Rakthari did we kill?" She looked. Bodies of the enemy lay everywhere. For every human who had died, 3 Rakthari were dead. "They're not laughing anymore," Colonel Jiang said. "They came here expecting easy prey. Instead, they found predators." That's when Commander Choi's ship arrived. Her weapons lit up the sky as she attacked the Rakthari from above. The enemy soldiers looked up in shock as human reinforcements poured from landing ships. The Rakthari had never seen anything like it. Humans who fought harder when wounded. Humans who used their own deaths as weapons. Humans who turned grief into rage and rage into victory. By morning, New Sol was free. The surviving Rakthari fled to their ships and escaped. But they left behind something important: doubt. For the first time in their history, the Rakthari had met an enemy that scared them. Admiral Yoon received the battle reports while planning humanity's next move. The victory at New Sol was just the beginning. The Rakthari had made a mistake by attacking human colonies. Now they would learn what humans were really like when their families were threatened. "Sir," General Kang said, "we're getting reports from across the galaxy. Other species are talking about the battle. Some are scared." "Good," Admiral Yoon replied. "Fear will keep them honest. The aliens thought we were weak because we wanted peace. Now they'll learn that peaceful people can be the most dangerous when you push them too far." He looked at the star map showing Rakthari territory. Soon, humanity would bring the war to them. The galaxy was about to discover what happened when you made humans angry. Admiral Yoon stood before the largest human fleet ever assembled. 300 ships floated in formation around Earth. Military vessels, converted cargo ships, mining platforms turned into weapons of war. Each ship carried humans who had volunteered to fight. "Operation Thunderfall begins now," he announced over the fleet communication system. "We're not just defending our colonies anymore. We're taking the fight to them." Captain Jae-sung Lim commanded the assault carrier Vengeance. His ship was loaded with fighter craft and Marines ready for battle. Next to him, Commander In-soo Park prepared his fighter squadrons. They had trained for months, but now they would face real combat. "Sir, we're getting strange readings from the alien observation ships," reported the sensor officer. Admiral Yoon looked at the tactical display. 7 different alien species had sent ships to watch the human fleet. They stayed far away, but their sensors were recording everything. "Let them watch," Admiral Yoon said. "They wanted to see what humans do. Give them a good show." The fleet jumped to hyperspace. Their target was the Rakthari military base at Keth Prime. Intelligence reports said it was heavily defended with over 50 enemy ships and ground installations that could destroy whole planets. The aliens watching thought the humans were making a mistake. Attacking such a strong position with inferior numbers was suicide. They were about to learn they were wrong. Dr. Sung-woo Bae worked in the weapons lab aboard Admiral Yoon's flagship. While other scientists built defensive systems, he created new ways to kill Rakthari. His latest invention was a missile that could punch through their thick armor. "The key is understanding how they think," he explained to his team. "They're big and strong, so they rely on brute force. They don't expect clever tactics." Major Hee-jin Kwan led the special forces teams that would strike enemy supply lines. She had studied every piece of information about Rakthari behavior. She knew their weaknesses. "They're pack hunters," she told her soldiers. "They work together when attacking, but they panic when separated. We use that against them." Captain Yoon Young Shin commanded the psychological warfare unit. Her job was to break enemy morale before the shooting started. She broadcast messages on Rakthari communication channels. "We know what you did to our children," her translated voice said. "We know you ate our people. Now we're coming for you. Run while you can." At first, the Rakthari laughed at these messages. Humans were small and weak. What could they do? Then the human fleet arrived at Keth Prime. The Rakthari base commander was named Groktar. He was 12 feet tall with scars covering his body from 100 battles. He had destroyed 17 different species and eaten their leaders. Humans would be easy prey. 53 ships, his sensor operator reported. Much smaller than our fleet. Groktar looked at his tactical display. The human ships were strange designs. Some looked like cargo vessels with weapons bolted on. Others appeared to be mining equipment converted for war. "Pathetic," he growled. "Send 40 ships to destroy them. Keep the rest here to guard the base." But when the Rakthari fleet moved to attack, something unexpected happened. The humans didn't wait to be attacked. They struck first. Captain Lim's fighters swept in faster than anything the Rakthari had seen. Commander Park led his squadron through their formation like ghosts, hitting weak spots and disappearing before return fire could reach them. "How are they so fast?" Groktar demanded. His science officer studied the sensor readings. "They've modified their engines beyond safe limits. The acceleration should kill their pilots." "But it doesn't?" "No, sir. Somehow they survive forces that would destroy our warriors." What the Rakthari didn't know was that humans had been testing themselves against deadly forces for centuries. Fighter pilots pulled maneuvers that would liquefy alien brains. Marines fought in conditions that would kill most species. The battle became a lesson in human adaptability. When Rakathari ships used their heavy armor to absorb damage, human weapons adapted. Dr. Bay's new missiles found weak points and exploited them. When the enemy tried to ram human ships with their superior size, Captain Yoon Young-shin's psychological warfare made them hesitate at crucial moments. Doubt crept into minds that had never known fear. Engineering Chief Kitai-ro worked miracles in the engine rooms. When Rakathari weapons damaged human ships, his teams repaired them faster than they could be destroyed. When power systems failed, he rerouted energy through backup systems no one knew existed. "Sir, impossible readings from the human vessels," reported the Rakathari sensor officer. "Their damaged ships are fighting better than our undamaged ones." Tactical Officer Su Min Yang proved why humans were natural strategists. She created battle plans that changed every few minutes, adapting to enemy responses faster than they could react. "Target their command ship," she told Admiral Yoon. "Cut off their head and the body will panic." But the real shock came when Major Kwan's special forces attacked the base itself. While the space battle raged above, her teams infiltrated Rakathari ground installations. The Rakathari had never faced enemies who could move through their own territory like shadows. Human special forces appeared everywhere at once, destroying supply depots, communication arrays, and weapon factories. "How did they get inside our defenses?" Groktar roared. His security chief was bleeding from a wound on his arm. "They move like ghosts, sir. They know our base layout better than we do." Lieutenant Bo Young Kim led a team through Rakathari tunnels that were designed for creatures twice human size. While the enemy struggled to move through their own corridors, humans darted between their legs, planting explosives and disappearing. The aliens watching the battle transmitted frantic reports to their homeworlds. Council member Zathara of the Mordani sent encrypted messages. "They don't just fight wars, they become war. Every human vessel adapts in real time. Every tactic evolves during battle." Keltar Representative Mulgaren watched human Marines board Rakathari ships. He saw Lieutenant Kim's team fight through environments that should have killed them in minutes. Toxic air crushing gravity, temperatures that melted metal. Humans adapted to all of it. "They're not like us," he reported. "They don't avoid deadly conditions. They master them." The turning point came when Admiral Yoon ordered the final assault. His flagship led the charge straight at the Rakathari command vessel. Groktar expected the humans to break off when faced with superior firepower. Instead, they accelerated. "They're going to ram us," the Rakathari sensor officer screamed. But at the last second, the human ship veered aside. Admiral Yoon had used the threat of ramming to get close enough for his Marines to board the enemy vessel. Captain Myung-jin Lee led the boarding party. Her team fought through Rakathari corridors with a savagery that shocked even these experienced killers. When cornered, humans didn't surrender. They fought harder. Sergeant Ari No exemplified human determination. When a Rakathari soldier twice her size cornered her in a narrow passage, she didn't retreat. She attacked. The enemy warrior's claws tore through her armor and cut her arm. Instead of falling back, she used her own blood to blind him, then drove her combat knife through his throat. "Remember Haven Colony," she whispered as he died. Throughout the ship, human Marines showed the same pattern. Wounded humans fought better than healthy aliens. Outnumbered humans found ways to win through tactics their enemies couldn't understand. Within 6 hours, Keth Prime had fallen. The Rakathari fleet was destroyed. Their base was captured. Most importantly, their confidence was shattered. Groktar was brought before Admiral Yoon in chains. The massive alien warrior had never been defeated before. He couldn't understand what had happened. "Your ships were smaller," he growled. "Your weapons were weaker. How did you win?" Admiral Yoon looked at the creature who had eaten human children. "You made this personal when you targeted our families. Bad mistake. We are the strongest species in this sector." "Strength isn't just about size," Admiral Yoon replied. "It's about what you're willing to do to protect those you love." As news of the victory spread across the galaxy, alien species began to reassess their understanding of humans. The creatures they had dismissed as primitive had just destroyed the most feared military force in known space. Elder Velthok of the Vextai received reports from his observers with growing alarm. How is this possible? They were supposed to be weak. The answer came from his xenopsychologist. We made an error in our assessment. We thought they were primitive because they fought among themselves. We now understand they survived to reach the stars precisely because they never stopped learning how to fight. Admiral Yoon broadcast a message across all alien communication channels. His voice was calm, but every species in the galaxy heard the steel beneath his words. This is Admiral Yoon of the human fleet. The Rakthari attacked our colonies and killed our families. This is what happened to them. Anyone else who wants to target human civilians should remember this day. The message was simple and clear. Humans were no longer asking for protection from the Galactic Council. They were serving notice that they would provide their own. The Rakthari home fleet gathered around their capital world like angry hornets. Every warship they had left, every fighter, every weapon that could fire, all focused on protecting Raktar Prime. They had never retreated to their homeworld before, but the humans had changed everything. War Chief Vexmok commanded the defense from his massive flagship. He was the largest Rakthari alive, standing 15 feet tall with claws that could slice through steel. Scars covered his body from 1,000 victories. He had personally eaten the hearts of 50 enemy leaders. But now, for the first time in his life, he was afraid. How many ships do we have? He asked his aide. 312 warships, my lord, plus 2,000 fighter craft and the planetary defense systems. Vexmok nodded. It should be enough. The humans had won their previous battles through tricks and surprise. Here, defending their home, the Rakthari would show their true strength. Then, the human fleet arrived. Admiral Yoon's armada dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. But this wasn't just a military fleet. Every human who could pilot a ship had come to fight. Cargo haulers with missile pods welded to their hulls. Mining vessels turned into assault ships. Even passenger liners had been converted into carriers. Captain Myung-Jin Lee commanded the battleship Retribution. On its hull were painted the names of every human killed in the Rakthari raids. Children's names covered most of the ship's surface. Sir, enemy fleet is massive, his sensor officer reported. They outnumber us 3-1. Captain Lee looked at the tactical display without concern. Doesn't matter. We're not here for a fair fight. We're here for justice. Commander Hyo-Jin Chung led the vanguard force. Her ships had been equipped with captured Rakthari stealth technology, but human engineers had improved it beyond anything the aliens had achieved. Remember, she told her pilots, these are the same monsters who ate our people. Show them what humans do to child killers. The battle began with the Rakthari doing what they always did, charging straight at the enemy with overwhelming force. It had worked against every species they had fought. It didn't work against humans. As the Rakthari fleet advanced, Commander Chung's stealth ships appeared behind them. The enemy had never faced opponents who could use their own technology better than they could. Human fighters swarmed through the Rakthari formation like angry wasps. Where alien pilots flew with brute force, humans flew with precision. They hit weak spots, disappeared, and struck again before the enemy could respond. "They're everywhere!" screamed a Rakthari pilot before his ship exploded. War Chief Vexmok watched his fleet take heavy losses and couldn't understand what was happening. How are they so fast? How do they know where to hit us? His science officer studied the tactical data with growing horror. My lord, they're learning from every attack. Each time we fire, they adapt. Each time we move, they counter. What the Rakthari didn't realize was that humans had been fighting each other for thousands of years. They had learned to adapt quickly or die. Now they turned that skill against an enemy that relied on fear and intimidation. The real terror began when Major Sunho Park led boarding actions against Rakthari ships. His Marines had trained for months and captured alien vessels. They knew every corridor, every weak point, every system. But more than that, they were angry. The first ship they boarded was a Rakthari cruiser. Park's team cut through the hull and poured into the enemy vessel like a flood of death. The aliens inside had never faced enemies who fought with such controlled fury. Sergeant Airi No led her squad through passages designed for creatures twice her size. When a Rakthari warrior blocked her path, she didn't hesitate. She jumped at him with her combat knife. The alien's claws ripped through her armor and tore her arm nearly off. But instead of falling, she kept fighting. She used her wounded arm to grab his wrist, then drove her knife through his throat with her good hand. "That's for the kids on Bright Star Station," she gasped as he died. Other Marines saw her continue, fighting with one arm nearly severed, and their rage burned even hotter. They had come to avenge their families, and nothing would stop them. The Rakthari had built their empire on fear. When enemies saw their size and savagery, they usually surrendered or ran. But humans got more dangerous when hurt, more determined when outnumbered. In the observation ship hidden at the edge of the system, Galactic Council representatives watched the battle with growing terror. Elder Velthak, the same alien who had laughed at human suffering, now trembled as he watched the recordings. "This is impossible," he whispered. "They're smaller and weaker. How are they winning?" Council member Zethara of the Mordani had stopped, glowing. Her crystalline form was dark with shock. "They don't fight like any species we know. They embrace pain and use it as fuel." Keltar representative Mulgaren watched human Marines fight through environments that should have killed them instantly. Toxic atmospheres, crushing gravity, temperatures that melted alien equipment. Humans adapted to all of it. They're not trying to survive the battle, he realized. They're trying to make sure their enemies don't. The turning point came when Admiral Yoon ordered the final assault on War Chief Vexmach's flagship. The massive alien vessel was 3 times larger than any human ship, armed with weapons that could destroy planets. But size didn't matter when Major Park's Marines cut their way inside. The corridors of the Rakthari flagship became a slaughterhouse. Alien warriors who had terrorized the galaxy for centuries found themselves hunted by creatures half their size, with twice their determination. Sergeant No, still fighting with one arm barely attached, cornered War Chief Vexmach in his command center. The massive alien towered over her, claws dripping with the blood of her squadmates. "You killed my friends," she said quietly. "But before that, you ate human children." Vexmach roared and charged. His claws could have cut her in half, but Sergeant No didn't try to avoid them. Instead, she stepped into his attack. His claws punched through her chest armor and pierced her lung. But her momentum carried her forward, and she drove her knife up through his jaw and into his brain. They fell together, the giant alien warrior and the human sergeant who refused to quit fighting. When the other Rakthari saw their war chief dead, their morale finally broke. These creatures who had never known defeat suddenly understood what terror felt like. "Retreat!" some screamed. "They're demons!" But Admiral Yoon wasn't interested in letting them escape. "All ships pursue and destroy. No survivors." The rout that followed became legend across the galaxy. Rakthari ships fled in all directions, but human vessels hunted them down one by one. There was no mercy, no negotiation, no quarter given. Captain Lee's ship Retribution caught the last enemy cruiser at the edge of the system. The Rakthari captain tried to surrender, offering treasure and information in exchange for his life. "You didn't offer mercy to our children," Captain Lee replied, and opened fire. When the battle ended, Raktar Prime burned. Their fleet was destroyed. Their military was broken. Most importantly, their reputation for invincibility was shattered forever. Admiral, Yoon broadcast one final message across the galaxy. "The Rakthari Empire is finished. Any survivors who want to live peacefully are welcome to try. Any who want to continue eating sentient beings will join their friends here." In their observation ship, the Galactic Council representatives sat in stunned silence. Elder Velthak finally spoke. "What have we done?" "We made the mistake of thinking predators were primitives," Zethara replied. "We forgot that the most dangerous hunters are often the ones who appear harmless." Dr. Kyung-suk Im, the Council's xenopsychologist, completed her report with shaking hands. Recommendation: immediate diplomatic contact with humans. Priority: highest possible. Warning: do not, under any circumstances, threaten human civilians. As news of the Rakthari defeat spread across the galaxy, every species had the same thought. If humans could destroy the most feared military force in known space, What could they do to anyone else who made them angry? The answer was simple and terrifying, whatever they had to. 6 months after the destruction of Raktar Prime, the galaxy was a different place. The Rakthari Empire existed only in history books. Their survivors had scattered to the far edges of space, too broken to threaten anyone ever again. But the real change was in how every alien species now looked at humanity. Fleet Admiral Yoon arrived at the Galactic Council chambers aboard his new flagship, the Unyielding. The massive battleship had been built from captured Rakthari technology and human engineering genius. It was twice as fast as any alien ship and armed with weapons that could crack moons. Captain Hai Wan Jung announced their arrival over the communication system. Galactic Council, this is the human vessel, Unyielding. Admiral Yoon is here for the scheduled meeting. The response came immediately. No delays, no bureaucracy, no condescending remarks about primitive species. Welcome. Admiral Yoon, please dock at Bay 1, the Council is ready to receive you. Inside the Council chambers, the same aliens who had once dismissed humans now sat in respectful silence. Elder Velthak, who had laughed at human suffering, kept his head down and avoided eye contact. Mordani representative Zethara glowed with nervous energy. The crystalline alien had watched recordings of human marines fighting through conditions that would kill her species instantly. She no longer saw humans as primitives. Keltar delegate Mulgaren kept all 4 of his arms perfectly. Still, any sudden movement might be seen as threatening, and no one wanted to threaten humans anymore. Admiral Yoon entered the chamber with quiet confidence. Behind him walked Ambassador Sujin Cho, a diplomat who had studied alien cultures her whole life. But she was also a former military officer who had seen combat. The aliens could sense both sides of her nature. Honored Council, Admiral Yoon began. I understand you wish to discuss humanity's new role in galactic affairs. Elder Velthak cleared his throat nervously. Admiral, we want to apologize for our previous misunderstanding. We offer humanity full membership in the Galactic Council. Not just membership, Zethara added quickly. Inner circle status, a position of leadership. Ambassador Cho stood to respond. Her voice was calm, but every alien in the room heard the steel beneath her words. We appreciate the offer, but we need to be clear about something first. The chamber fell silent. 6 months ago, we came to you asking for help. Our colonies were under attack. Our children were being murdered and eaten. You not only refused to help, you laughed at our pain. Elder Velthak flinched. We made an error in judgment. You made a choice, Ambassador Cho interrupted. You chose to let monsters kill our families because you thought we were too weak to matter. Please understand, Mulgaren pleaded. We had never encountered a species like yours. We didn't comprehend your capabilities. Our capabilities? Admiral. Yoon stepped forward. You mean our ability to fight back when someone threatens our children? The aliens exchanged nervous glances. Reports from the Rakthari War had spread throughout the galaxy. Every species now knew what humans could do when pushed too far. We will work with the Council, Ambassador Cho continued, but on our terms. We'll protect species that can't protect themselves. We'll stop aggressors before they become threats, and we'll never again ask permission to defend our people. Of course, Zethara agreed quickly. Whatever you think is best. That's when the alarm sounded. Red lights flashed throughout the council chambers. A technician rushed in with urgent news. Sirs, we're receiving distress calls from the Yilnari homeworld. The Tolvec hegemony is attacking with a massive fleet. Admiral Yoon looked at the tactical display that appeared in the center of the EU. From the Yilnari were a peaceful species with no military. The Tolvec were aggressive expansionists who had been watching the Rakthari War carefully. How long do the Yilnari have? Admiral Yoon asked. Their defenses will fall within hours, the technician replied. The Tolvec fleet has over 400 ships. Elder Velthak wrung his hands. The Tolvec have always been difficult. Perhaps we should negotiate. Negotiate? Ambassador Cho's voice cut through the chamber like ice. While they're killing civilians? What do you suggest? Zethara asked nervously. Admiral Yoon was already activating his communicator. General Kang, this is Admiral Yoon. We have a situation. On the screen, General Seung Ho Kang appeared from Earth Command. Behind him, duty officers were already moving to battle stations. I saw the report, sir. The fleet is mobilizing now. How long to reach Yilnari space? Admiral Yoon asked. 8 hours at maximum speed. Make it 6. And General, send a message to the Tolvec fleet. What should it say? Admiral Yoon looked at the alien council members who were watching with a mixture of awe and fear. Tell them they have one chance to withdraw. If they're still there when we arrive, they'll join the Raktharian history. President G1 Nam appeared on screen from Earth. Admiral, you have full authorization. Protect the Yilnari. The transmission ended. Admiral Yoon turned back to the council. This is what humans do. We protect those who can't protect themselves. But the Tolvec outnumber your fleet significantly, Mulgaren pointed out. Numbers didn't help the Rakthari, Ambassador Cho replied. They thought size and strength were all that mattered. They learned otherwise. Within hours, Admiral Yoon's fleet was in hyperspace, racing to reach the Yilnari homeworld before the key. Massacre was complete. The ships were crewed by veterans of the Rakthari War, humans who had learned to turn their protective instincts into weapons of devastating efficiency. Captain Mayung-jin Lee commanded the battleship Retribution, Still, painted with the names of children killed in alien raids. Commander Hyojin Chung led the stealth squadrons that had perfected the art of appearing where enemies least expected them. Major Sun Ho Park commanded the Marines who specialized in boarding actions. His teams had studied every piece of intelligence about Tolvec ship design, looking for weaknesses to exploit. The Tolvec war chief Bakshan received the human message while his fleet bombarded Yilnari cities. He was a pragmatic leader who had watched the recordings from Raktar Prime. He knew what humans could do, but he also knew his fleet was 3 times larger than the human force approaching. Surely numbers would matter. War Chief, his aide reported. Human ships detected at the edge of the system. Bakshan looked at the tactical display. Only 150 human vessels against his 400. Signal the fleet. Prepare for battle. But then something unexpected happened. Instead of attacking, the human fleet stopped. Admiral Yoon's voice came across all communication channels. Tolvec fleet, this is Admiral Yoon. You are attacking a peaceful species. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. Bakshan laughed. The humans were trying to bluff with inferior numbers. Human Admiral, you are outnumbered 3 to 1. Surrender, and we will allow you to leave. Last warning, Admiral Yoon replied. Leave now. Bakshan's response was to order his fleet to attack the human ships. That's when he learned why the Rakthari Empire no longer existed. The battle was over in 4 hours. The Tolvec fleet, which had seemed so overwhelming, was systematically destroyed by human tactics they couldn't counter. Ships that tried to ram human vessels found themselves outmaneuvered. Weapons that should have overpowered human shields were neutralized by countermeasures the aliens had never seen. War Chief Bakshan found his flagship surrounded by human marines, led by Major Park. As his bridge filled with smoke and the sounds of battle, he finally understood what the Rakthari had learned too late. Numbers didn't matter when your enemy turned warfare into an art form. The few surviving Tolvec ships fled the system. Behind them, they left a lesson that would be remembered across the galaxy. Attacking peaceful species was a very bad idea when humans were watching. Admiral Yoon received the surrender of the Tolvec survivors with the same calm efficiency he had shown throughout the battle. Signal all Tolvec forces. Your government will pay reparations to the Yilnari. Your military will be reduced to defensive forces only. Any future aggression will result in the same fate as the Rakthari. News of the second human victory spread even faster than the first. Within days, every species in the galaxy knew that a new power had emerged. Humans didn't just fight wars. They won them so completely that their enemies ceased to exist as threats. Dr. Kyung-suk Im, the Council's xenopsychologist, updated her files on humanity with a final assessment. They are not primitives who happened. To reach the stars. They are predators who chose to become guardians. The galaxy is safer because of their protection, and infinitely more dangerous for those who threaten the innocent. The age of human diplomacy had begun, backed by the promise that those who mistook kindness for weakness would face consequences beyond their comprehension. In the far reaches of space, on worlds where peaceful species had lived in fear of stronger neighbors, aliens looked up at the stars with new hope. Somewhere out there, humans patrolled the darkness, ready to unleash controlled fury upon anyone who would harm the innocent. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans were not the primitives they appeared to be. They were the apex predators that other apex predators had nightmares about.